In the massage workshops I run, we start with an undressing ritual that those of you who've been before will be familiar with. It's a beautiful way of arriving into the space, connecting with another, and then slowly coming into being naked together before we go into our pairs to exchange giving and receiving touch. Recently, I've learned a new approach to the undressing ritual, which I'll be sharing in our sessions as we start 2024. Now, previously, for those who've been to the workshop before, you'll know that we would take it in turns. So one person would be undressed, and then they would undress their partner. It occurred to me that that might leave some people feeling a little vulnerable, as they will then be naked in the space whilst others are still dressed. And this new approach to the undressing is much more inviting a stylized sensuality and as if we are with a lover, taking it in turns to remove clothing. So one person will have their top removed, and then once that is taken off, they will then take off their partner's top, and then that will move to the trousers, likewise taking off your partner's trousers, and then underwear. So everyone is gradually becoming naked together within that ritual. Likewise, there can sometimes, if you're not familiar with offering touch, and particularly you're working with a stranger, someone new, there might be some sense of shyness about how should I touch this person, where can I touch? And of course, we explore boundaries before we start the untouching, before we start the undressing. And we will ask, is there anywhere that you're not comfortable being touched? As you go into your pairing, you might feel, I'm comfortable being touched anywhere by this person, or you might clarify areas of your body where you don't want to be touched. So those boundaries will be set before we start the undressing ritual. Within the parameters of those boundaries, then, there will be 4 types of touch that you can offer. So the first type of touch is this one that you might be most familiar with. It will be a continuous, gliding, sensuous caressing of your partner's body, exploring through your hands and fingertips, through the sides of your hands, through the forearms. And you're inviting your partner to soften into this stylized caress of their body. The second type of touch I think of as being like the ski slope, in that once your hand has started, it doesn't stop until it comes off the body. So you might be coming down from the top of the head, and you'll slide down all the way to the fingertips. Or you slide down the body and off the hip, coming down and just sliding off the shoulder. You might come up the body, and you just keep coming until you just slide off the head. Or you're coming down the front of the body, and you slide down and down until you just slide off from the pelvis. Likewise, coming down the legs until you slide off from the knee. Or sliding down from the knee and sliding off from the feet. So these 2 types of touch are similar but have distinct qualities. Caressing and gliding, continuous movements, and the ski slope approach of just coming off at the end. The second 2 types of touch are more percussive. So one is where with our fingertips we apply some pressure and then lift. Pressure and then lift. Pressure and then lift. Noticing how it is to apply that pressure with the fingertips and then lift off. And the fourth type of touch is where we use our fists and we just apply some pressure and then release. Apply some pressure and then release. Apply some pressure with the fist and release. And release. Particularly nice around the hips and the glutes. And as we're undressing, we will combine these. So you might well start with a caressing, flowing touch. And then as you are doing that, you might find your way to the top of the head and then a sliding, caressing. And then in a moment, and then you might bring that to a pause and just changing the sensations of the person that's receiving this touch. And then, of course, there's that slow process of starting to bring touch underneath the clothing. And we're thinking of the undressing as like unwrapping this wonderful present. And there's no rush. We're exploring around the edges of where we can feel the skin of their body. And again, you might move from the caressing to this more staccato sensation. And then that slow teasing as you start to ease the clothing up, feeling underneath the clothing, starting to explore the body through coming underneath the clothing. And then there might be another moment of just sliding down the body, sliding off. And then the clothing will be slowly removed before switching to the person who's just been undressed on taking an item of clothing off their partner. And then we'll bring these 4 types of touch into the massage itself. So it's a lovely way of learning that we can actually bring different types of touch as we massage. The smooth flowing touch, the caressing, the sensual. Connecting our partner's body with long, flowing, single movements. Bringing some staccato to the touch. And then bringing some pressure. And letting our partner feel how it is to experience this, the weight of our hand, before going back into caressing. And there won't be any particular order to this. You'll simply cycle through these as your intuition tells you to. So I look forward to seeing you at one of our sessions. We meet in Brixton on Saturdays once a month. There'll be the dates in the description underneath the video. We meet from 2 until 6:30, so that's another change from last year's sessions. We're having an extra half an hour, so when we come to the end of the session, we'll have a bit more time to just be in that pairing, or possibly move into a final pairing, having arrived at that place where we're exploring more of the lingam massage and the sensual, sacred sexual aspect of the massage. And then we've got a little bit more time to just really enjoy being in that place. Finishing with some breath work, some inner energy awareness, moving the sexual energy that has been generated through working on the lingam and seeing if we can start to connect that into the sacral chakra. And from the sacral chakra, bring that up through the central channel so that we feel it filling our whole body. Or maybe, as was the case for me when I first learnt some of these Tantra practices, we tune into the fact that this area feels so closed, so locked down, so icy. And so then our practice is starting to explore, how do I allow the energy to start to move? How do I notice where the energy is a bit blocked? Maybe I work with this image of feeling that there's a block of ice and I'm having to imagine it starting to thaw, and then something starts to move here. So I look forward to seeing you at one of our sessions. There are more details in the description below. And it will be a space to really explore, how do I give and receive touch, and how do I wake up my sense of being alive to the bliss and the energy that is here, right in my body, right now.